All right, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have another rule video for you. Today we are going to cover the rules on our mid-size class, kind of like what we built the unicorn here too. The reason I stopped at this one, I'm going to use a different car for, actually I'm going to probably use a few cars for showing you how to build, or how to build to the rules. Biggest thing, I'm going to skip most of the stuff because it's all the same, that, you know, clean your car out and make sure that the lights and all that stuff are off and clean the interior up, all that good stuff. That's all going to be the same. Biggest difference, any ply tire is allowed in the mid-size class, up to 30 inches tall. If you want to use the solid forklift tires in the back, go for it. If you want to put your diggers on the front, feel free. That's perfectly fine. Alright, I'm going to walk back here towards another car. I'm going to try to read at the same time. Any 6-cylinder or less, stock rear end if you're running a rear-wheel drive. Motor mounts, keep them stock. Don't try to reinforce it. I don't have anything in here about chaining it in place. If you do want to chain the motor, feel free. Just don't try to make solid mounts on the front of your W body. Or on the bottom, I guess. You can weld your rear gears if you're bringing a rear-wheel drive car. Headers, go for it. Put them on there. No carbs. Yes, sorry guys, we do not allow carb swaps. We're trying to keep the cost down in this class. I don't want people to look out and think the only way they compete is by putting a carburetor on their car. The future is here. Moving wiring on these things is stupid easy. If you guys are having issues with it, shoot us a message. We will help you out. It is not hard to move the wiring on most of these cars. So if you have any questions, issues, concerns, look us up. We can help you out. No sliders if you're running a rear-wheel drive. No reinforcement. No cradles, tranny braces, any of that kind of stuff. Hood. Yes, you still have to have your hood open for inspection. Up to 6 hold downs. Front 2 may be threaded rod. The other ones must be wire, chain, seat belt, angle iron, that kind of stuff, unless you are running a car without a subframe, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. If you are running a car with a subframe, like this Lumina here, if you want to take your front 2 rods, go down, actually probably start up here, down through the core support, through the unibody frame. This part here is a unibody frame. This down here is a subframe. If you want to go through that, you can pull that body mount out, that's fine, and you can bolt it on the bottom and run your, oops, there we go, and run your all thread all the way through. That is perfectly legal. If you are going to keep the stock body mount in place, you can instead weld your threaded rod to the side of the unibody frame up, and it can go up to the back of the core support. So actually, let me walk back up here to the unicorn and I'll show you what I mean there. If you would rather not pull that front mount, you are allowed to weld. You can go up to the back of the core support. So on this car, if you were to want to weld your threaded rod straight down to the unibody frame, so to this part here, you know, it's kind of kinked on this car, but if you wanted to run it down to the inside or outside of the unibody and up, that's fine, as long as it doesn't go any farther back than the core support. Don't try to run it back here and up if you have a car with a subframe on it. Something like this guy here. This one has a subframe. The Taurus Sables, they have a subframe. You can see it right down there. Same thing. If you are going to run a car without a subframe, say you want to bring the Cavalier, same thing. Front 2 rods, put them somewhere where they're contacting your core support. However, if you have a car with no subframe, see? Doesn't have the same, it's just a K-frame type of car. It's all unibody. There is no subframe underneath it. If you're bringing something like this, you are allowed 2 extra threaded rod, and they can also go to the frame. So if you want to run them farther back, give yourself a little bit of extra support, that's fine. We want to give you guys a little bit of extra help running against cars that have full subframes. Alright, back to reading. Let's see. Trunk, up to 4 total hold downs. Again, you can do 2 threaded rod, up to 1 inch. Other 2 chain, wire, angle, seat belts, all that same stuff. You can tuck the trunk. Your 2 rods can go to the frame. If you want to send them through the speaker deck, we like to do that. Feel free, you can do that too. Let's see, aside from patches, don't weld your unibody to your subframe in any way. The only way you can connect those two better than they come from the factory is if you pull the front mount and run your rod through it and bolt only. Your rear subframe bolts. I'm not going to crawl under this car, but back here, your subframe meets the body, so it goes all the way up to the front there. Subframe comes underneath, goes to the body back here. A lot of guys like to pull those body mounts out, pull the rubber, and sandwich them down so that they don't lose their steering. You can't do that. Yes, we are going to be checking to make sure that those mounts are stock. Don't change the rear subframe body mounts. Rear trailing arms, keep them stock. If yours is broke, message us. You know, we can find a way to fix it. I'd prefer you just use the factory equipment. Try to find a way to patch it back together. But I know that the trailing arms on these things are weak. We do want you to be able to do something to fix it, so prefer you patch it with factory equipment. If it needs more help than that, if the mount's completely ripped out, we'll get something figured out for you. Let's see. Notch and prebe on the rear, feel free. No body creasing. Window bar. That is allowed to the speaker deck only. 2x2 square. 4x4 plates on the bottom. Patch rule. Unibody cars, so cars like your Luminas, any W-body type of vehicle, Ford Taurus, stuff like that that has a subframe. You are allowed up to 2 plates total. That is per vehicle, not per side. So 2 plates total to fix your car if she is bent. If you are bringing something that does not have a subframe, like your Cavaliers, you guys are allowed 2 more. And the Cavalier is not the only vehicle out there, guys, that doesn't have a subframe. It's just what I've got sitting here that I can show you the difference on. So if you're bringing something that doesn't have a subframe, you're allowed 2 extra plates. Let's see. Fenders, feel free to trim them. Let's see. Driver's door, you can weld it solid. Others are 5 on, 5 off, 3-inch plates. Oh, battery's dying. Bumper. Any automotive bumper can be used. No Chrysler pointies. Do not stuff or load your bumpers. You can seam weld them if you would like. Let's see. Bumpers you can mount by bolt or weld. If you want to use a flat steel tube, that is fine also. If you want to use something like that guy there, up to 4x4 is allowed. You are allowed 6 inches of extra material. Now, why did I word it this way? Everybody says you're allowed 6 inches tube inside frame. Well, some vehicles that's a little bit more difficult than, you know, maybe just slapping a extra chunk of metal like we did on this car here. We took this extra strapping. So with these rules, if you would like to do this, instead of running a tube inside, that's fine. Run your strap over the top. You can still run your threaded rod down through that and down through your subframe if you're building a car that's got a subframe. So if you would rather use an exterior strap, basically that last 6 inches of your frame, you know, I'm giving you a little bit of freedom. If you prefer to use strapping to hold your bumper on, do that. If you want to run tube inside the frame, your 6 inches, do that. We will have drills there. Make sure that you're not pushing that 6 inches. So, if you have questions on that, as always, shoot us a message. Allowed, highly recommended, use some chain or wire, whatever the case may be. Wire your bumper to the upper core support. Keep it from falling off. We'd like to see them stay on out there if at all possible. I know some are still going to come on. Yes, we will be stopping you to pull them off the track. Rear bumper. Either keep it stock or rip it off. Interior protection. Tubing up to 6 inches. You can have a 4-point cage. So, well, I just cut the one out of this car. Let's see. What has one in it? This car have one in it? Yeah. 4-point cage. Run it to the back, up to the front. This one's got an extra bar in it. That's fine. We bent one, so we put another one in. If you want to do that, that's fine. Bar along the driver's door. You're allowed another one across the front like we have here with this angle iron. That's a 4-point cage. It has to be floating. Don't weld anything to the floor. If you want to put a halo on it, go for it. You can bolt that halo 2 spots on the roof. Door bars, don't go more than 6 inches past the pillar. So you can see right there where the pillar is. Don't go more than 6 inches past that guy. Gas tank protector, feel free. This one's just got a holder. If you want to build, let's see, that one's just got a holder. These all really kind of just have holders in them still. If you want to build an actual protector, feel free. Just keep it no wider than 24 inches, and you got to be at least 4 inches off of the floor. This is the floor. 4 inches off the floor. And, oh, I just closed out of it. It's 8 inches to the rear sheet metal. So if you have sheet metal here, make sure you're at least 8 inches. Like this car's got actual sheet metal in the back. So you got to be at least 8 inches away from that. Oh, what am I missing? We went through bumpers. Let's see. Suspension. Keep it stock. I want factory bounce in any car with a subframe. Again, if you're bringing something without a subframe, if you want to clamp your strut up, throw a tack weld on it, whatever, put a little washer on it, whatever the case is, if you want to get a little bit more height out of your car, feel free. That is only for cars that do not have a subframe. Tie rods can be reinforced with angle iron or sleeved, but they have to start off as stock. No leaf spring conversions, 21 inches max to the bottom of bumper. If it's not listed, don't do it. Again, with all of our rules, we are trying to keep these classes as simple a build as possible. Our mid-size class is our main event, so we allow a little bit more building, but still not a ton. Why? Because we want Derby to be fun. Isn't that a strange idea? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it so that it's simple, easy, quick build. Throw something together, come out, you can be competitive. If you're trying to build something other than a W body, thank you. It is fun to see something besides W bodies out on the track. So we try to give you a little bit of extra help if you're running a car that doesn't have a subframe. If you have questions on these rules, message us. My phone goes off daily with people asking questions on the rules. That's great. I've got no issues with that. So keep those questions coming. Also, one thing I forgot to mention on bumpers, if you are running a tube, if you want to put a skin on it, feel free. This one has a little bit of a point to it. That's fine. Don't try to crease it and make it so you got some big gaudy point. Be smart here. The reason that I do this, and I've learned this from some folks in a different part of the country, the reason that this has become a thing is because this gives you a softer spot on your bumper. Tubing will destroy your frame faster than any other type of bumper out there because it's not typically going to bend. If you put something like this on it, this is softer. So it's going to give you just enough give that maybe you can keep your frame rails together a little bit faster. That is the reason I love these caddy bumpers, because they are just the perfect amount of give, but they're getting more and more expensive, so I would rather just not spend the money on them. So, if you want to run one of those, feel free. If you want to run a tube, go for it. If you want to put a skin, just a chrome skin over the top of it, you can do that too. I think it looks cool. So, I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, I'm sorry. We're trying to make this as easy as possible. You guys to throw something together and come party with us. We'll see you in Marshfield. We'll see you in Seymour. We'll see you in Hayward. There's my rear window bar. Unicorn still attached. That would be legal. If you have any questions, message 1Goose Promotions or message us here, 1Goose Garage. Find myself or Adam. Jack probably won't be much help. We appreciate you following along as always. Get goosed.